This Monday, May 13th, NBA Playoffs Betting Predictions edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBA SGPN. Welcome, everyone, to the NBA Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Monday, May the 13th, currently 11:09 on the East Coast. Here to recap what we saw over the weekend in the association, and we'll get into the two NBA playoff games here for tonight on the schedule. But joining me here to help me break everything down, you guys know him as the superstar of the show. It's the villain himself, Terrell Furman Jr. Terrell, how are you doing this Monday morning, my friend?
How did the Hawks end up with the first overall pick?
You know, that was going to be my next question to you, but yeah, lead it off with that.
How did that happen? I mean, I didn't even know the lottery was going on. I had no idea the lottery was going on. I didn't even know. I just turned and it was a lottery, and I was like, oh wow. And then next thing you know, Atlanta ends up with number one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we just solidified. Trae Young is a Los Angeles Laker, isn't he?
Trae, yeah, I think I mentioned this when we wrapped up the play-in tournament game. I said that was probably the last time we see Trae Young in the Atlanta Hawk uniform. So maybe headed to the West Coast to join the Lakers, maybe another team, but I think he is probably already packing his boxes and ready to move to another city.
So what does Atlanta do? Do they go for the 7-foot Frenchman, or do they go for the Rob Dillingham? It's like, it's so funny because what do they do? Like, this is a crazy year to get number one. It's not like you have a quote unquote generational talent. Like,
Right.
there's some really good players, but you can make the case for, I think, like 2 or 3 guys of should they be number one or not. And that's going to be interesting for Atlanta, because are they going to nerf this up, or do you just trade back?
Yeah. I think that, like you mentioned, because this year doesn't have a clear-cut number one, that if they end up picking number one, and if it doesn't pan out, then they're just going to be criticized for it for years to come if that player turns into a bust. And then, like you mentioned, do they go? Is it going to be back-to-back years? We see a French player go number one overall, but it'll be interesting to see how the offseason transpires here
Are
for
we sure that
the Atlanta
Atlanta
Hawks.
was happy that they got number one? I know when they got number one, they were like, fuck, what are we going to do with this? Oh, I don't know what to do. We pick here? Do we trade? What are we going to? Oh, this is going to be great. I'm happy. I'm happy. This is definitely ushering a new era. This is definitely accelerating their rebuild to where it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be bad season. They're going to get a good player. They're going to move on from Trae Young probably, and it's going to be DeJounte Murray and ex-player show.
Yeah, and they were dealing with a lot of injuries too, right? Heading into the playoffs, especially in that front court. I mean, it could have been different if they had guys like Jalen Johnson, who was having a fantastic year for the Atlanta Hawks. Okongwu was injured as well. They really only had Clint Capella in that front court, for the final stretch of the season there and going into that play-in tournament. So, yeah, it should definitely be an interesting offseason for the Atlanta Hawks. And speaking of offseason going into the season, Terrell, you already know this, but hey, if you're looking to get paid a whole heck of a lot more watching hoops, it's the week. This is the week. Check out the WNBA Gambling Podcast because the WNBA is back this week. Plus, did you know you get every single podcast SGPN releases all in one place? Just smash the SGPN network feed wherever you listen to your podcast. Again, WNBA back this week. Make sure you guys check out Terrell and Scott. I know they are going to crush it again this season for the women on the hardwood floor. Terrell, we have
Play the
series.
Chicago Sky. Play the Chicago Sky on the money line.
There you go. Early pick
Early.
there for
On Wednesday. It's not
Terrell.
Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. Their first game is on Wednesday, but plus 625. Take them on the spread. Play them on the money line. Just trust me. Just trust me. I wouldn't lead my clients astray.
We have two series tonight looking for those two teams to tie up the series at 2-2. We'll get into that in a minute, but we did see over the weekend the Denver Nuggets go into Minnesota in game 4 last night. They evened up the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and also the Indiana Pacers. They evened up the series at home, taking both games against the New York Knicks. So turning into some of these games haven't been very competitive, but at least the series is now tied up 2-2 with those two. I know we'll talk about the two here in a minute here tonight, but do you have any takeaways from the games that we saw this weekend over Saturday and Sunday?
Yeah, we got one series that didn't start, and we got one series that keeps starting over and over and over and over and over with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Nuggets, and every team winning on the road, and then the New York Knicks and the Pacers, and every team winning at home. So, uh, yeah, I'm pretty much that series is going over. Guaranteed 6 games here. It's really just been battle of injuries for the New York Knicks, and that's really what's been killing them. And
Yeah.
OG going down with the hamstring, and he had 28 like that. It just really killed all the offense. You go from OG a 40% 3-point shooter to Precious Achiuwa a 23% 3-point shooter, and it's not going to be good. So the Knicks look like they're struggling right now, and it's going to take some superhuman efforts from the Villanova guys, all three Villanova guys, to be able to pull them out of this hole. But the injuries really killed them. Really killed them coming down the stretch. And as for the Nuggets and the Timberwolves, I mean, we're just getting a good series. Yeah, this isn't over. This is a
Oh,
best
no.
of 3 now. This is going to be good. I wouldn't be surprised if we see the next 2 games, the 2 home teams get the win. Denver gets the win at home, and then Minnesota goes back and knocks it back up, and we go back to Denver for a game 7. So I'm looking forward. I think this is still 2 really good series.
Yeah, 100%. You got to give a lot of credit to the defending champs in Denver for the way they responded, because I think a lot of people are writing them off after dropping both games at home against the Minnesota Timberwolves. But give credit to the players. Obviously, Jamal Murray, Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon has been fantastic in game 3 and 4, but they made the adjustments that they needed to even up the series. And now, like you mentioned, Terrell, that it's a series best of 3 here now between the Denver Nuggets and the Minnesota Timberwolves, and obviously the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And yeah, I mean, with the Knicks, again, the injuries may just be catching up right now. I think we saw yesterday in game 4 that some of the starters did actually get to sit on the bench because it was turning into a blowout. But if you were watching that game, Indiana just could not miss a shot in that first half, and they just really created that separation and pretty much sailed the rest of the way in the second half. So, yeah, it's a new series for both of those. Last night it was a lot of fun to watch. I'm definitely looking forward to game 5 later this week between those two teams. Um, let's get into the games here for tonight. 2 games on the schedule. We've got the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Oklahoma City Thunder and Dallas, both game 4s. We'll start here with the first one. We got the Boston
Oh, my
Celtics.
WNBA League Pass just charged. It's time for the
You know
season.
what? That is something that it's like $20
Shot.
for the whole season, right?
Well, see, I was grandfathered in, real the back in the day W fans, we got it for $25. I think it's 35 now, but
Yeah.
still for the whole season, whole entire season. You're paying like 100 something for the NBA season.
Mm-hmm.
$35 entire
Yeah.
season.
There you go. Where Boston? Yeah, Boston. They take care of
That was
business.
more important than Boston, by the
Oh
way.
yeah,
So people
I
people
know.
understood. That's why I interrupted, because it was more important than Boston.
Boston in game 3 responds after getting cooked at home in game 2, 106-93. They take a 2-1 series lead, but now game 4, right back in Cleveland here tonight. Terrell, 8.5 is the number in favor of Boston. We already know which way you're going here in game 4, I believe. But any thoughts on the side or total here?
Well, interesting news that came through literally just a minute ago. So our if our listeners that are on right now are not on to don't have the notifications on for Underdog, they would know that Donovan Mitchell, calf, not present at shoot around right now.
Hmm.
We'll see how big that is. I can't imagine Donovan Mitchell not playing in this game, but if it's something that does keep him out, then all that really tells me is I'm just gonna wait to take the Cavs later on today. That's all I'm gonna do. Like, If Donovan Mitchell plays, this line isn't going anywhere. If he doesn't play, this line is gonna jump to what Celtics -13, -14, something like that. Like,
Yeah,
and at that point, I'll still get in on the Cavs because that's gonna now switch this to a spot where everybody's gonna say clear cut. The Boston Celtics are a must play. They're gonna guarantee to win and cover this game, and when we get them in those spots, that's when they let us down. So I think either way, I'm on the Caps here. I think if Donovan Mitchell doesn't play, they're gonna jump this line up too far where I can't take the Celtics, and they probably fold under expectations and probably win by 10 or something like that, and we cover. Or Donovan Mitchell gives them a chance to win this game outright. And we have to see what Jared Allen does. Jared Allen also was not present at shoot around. That doesn't look good.
yeah,
If Jared Allen plays, I do think that they're in this game. I think that they're going to have the edge with Mobley and Allen on the rebounding battle and being able to stagger those two players and just dominate the boards in the offensive glass and get in rebounds and all of that. And Mitchell has just been playing lights out. Like
yeah.
I trust Mitchell. I trust Mitchell right now down the stretch more than I trust Tatum. And I think that if you give me a close game, I think this is a game that Cleveland actually can get up at home for playing Boston. I don't think we've actually seen them get up for one of these games yet, even though they have a win. I think that was more of Boston just not coming to play more than Cleveland got up for the game. Yeah, they shot the ball pretty effectively, but they just took whatever they were given at that point. I think this is an opportunity where they're heavy on the glass. They go in, they're making tough shots. They're getting good quality looks. Everybody's hitting, everybody's clicking on all cylinders, and they make this a game. So, given the Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to figure out a way to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the consistency of Donovan Mitchell, or pretty much him being the offense. I just want to see someone else step up alongside him, and I think Darius Garland has really underperformed thus far in the postseason, honestly. Like averaging only about 14 points against the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
That's not really going to get it done. And he hasn't been very efficient either. They only had one game in game two where he's 5 of 8, shot 62%, but other two games, it was 6 to 15 exactly. And hasn't been shooting the three ball well either. Did have that one game where he did go 4 or 5, but I want to see him really, provide that support next to um, Donovan Mitchell for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I don't expect Jared Allen to play. I think, and I mentioned this when I was on with Scott, that when Jared Allen didn't play in game 7 in a do or die situation, I think that rib injury is a lot more serious than, that questionable tag is reflecting when
Yeah.
they do have their games, right? So, again, it's going to have to be the Evan Mobley show again. And I know that this is what his first playoff experience here, but or I did not last year they were there as well. I'm sorry, but again, this is another guy that I want to see step up for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So if you're gonna bet Boston, the most profitable angle with Boston has been in the first half. Like get in with your money and get out with your money if you want to bet Boston, because there's been. I mean, we've seen it throughout the regular season and even in the playoffs that they'll let you down in the second half. They'll let their opponents back in the game, and they'll let their opponents hang around that second half, and that's where they get into trouble. So I think my more favorite play is still going to be the under in this game, Terrell. It's down to
Mm-hmm.
207 for a reason, but again, offensively, I just don't trust the Cleveland Cavaliers. Boston can play some type of defense, but also at the same time that Boston is very reliant on that 3-point shot. I mean, you and I both know that, and if they're having an off night, that's where Cleveland could probably
Yeah.
steal this game, right? So under for me, 207 is my favorite play. Any thoughts on the total?
Yeah. Excuse me. I actually don't disagree with you. And you would think, I don't think this is a high scoring game where Cleveland has to score to keep up. I think they play really good defense. The three isn't hitting for the Celtics, and Cleveland just does enough. It's an ugly, ugly, grinded out. Cleveland does enough to win the game. They got the blowout game already. This is the one where they bring it back down to their level. It's a very slow pace. The Celtics just never really get comfortable, and it's just another letdown spot of this team being up and a chance to put this team away, and they miss. So if the injuries go Cleveland's way, I think they're in this and they have a chance to win.
All right. All right. Before we get into the player props for this game, for between the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers, let me tell everyone about NYRA bets. Hey, bet the second jewel of the Triple Crown with NYRA bets. Sign up today for a $200 deposit bonus with promo code SGPN200. Join now to claim your $200 deposit bonus just in time for the Preakness at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. Get ready for nonstop action with NYRA Bets evening promotions. Bet $50 each on Belmont at the Big A and any track with a first post at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday for a $10 bonus, win or lose. If you need more, earn a $15 bonus, win or lose, when you bet at least 75 each on Belmont at the Big A and at Monmouth Park. Visit nyrabets.com to opt in. And that's not all. Score big with a 20% bonus on your ticket winnings by hitting an exacta on any or all races at Belmont at the Big A on Sunday. Feature competitive edge with live money handicapping contests nearly every week. Enter the Friday feeder contest to earn your entry into the next $300 contest. Plus, win cash prizes and seats into next week's contest with the NYRA Bet Saturday contest. Registration closes before the Belmont at the Big A. Third race post time on the day of each contest. Get in and get your bonuses at nyrabets.com/SGPN200. And we're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NBA playoffs are here, and our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy, wants to make it a lot more interesting. Underdog Fantasy is the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Playing their pick'em game is as simple as selecting higher or lower on player stats like points, rebounds, assists, and so much more. You can make entries of all basketball or mix and match across your other favorite sports, and you can win up to 100 times your money, and it's really a ton of fun. Stay tuned at the end of the episode. Terrell and I will put together our Underdog Fantasy entry here for the NBA playoff games tonight. And Underdog will also be running a ton of different promos, bonus cash airdrops, specials, giveaways, and more throughout the NBA playoffs. So make sure to follow at Underdog Picks on Twitter to keep an eye out. And again, Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and Canada. They also just launched Champions, their player versus player format in Florida. Sign up with promo code NBASGPN to claim your special pick, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you guys use that promo code NBASGPN. All right, Terrell, let's get into our player props here, man, for the game between the Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I may see that the props may have been pulled for the Cavs side because what you mentioned about the Donovan Mitchell news, but let me double check that here. But anything at least you're looking for the Boston side here for player props?
No. Screw them. Nah.
They still have numbers up for Cavs.
They do?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, well, first off, we know with the first play that we go to is Evan Mobley. And you got to play Evan Mobley here. He's been pretty solid, whether it's been in like regular game time, garbage time, doesn't matter. Evan Mobley has had pretty good games. And why? It's because you play your centers against the Celtics, and Evan Mobley has had a pretty decent series up to this point. You had last game in a game where he had 17 and 8, still got over his points prop of 15 and a half. Didn't get the rebounds there, but look at the game prior, 21 and 10, 17, 13, hit the rebounds. He's hit over 15 and a half in all three games. You got to take the over 15 and a half here. I think he's going to hit the rebounds as well. It's just, if there's a Jared Allen sighting, that's the only thing that would scare me off of Evan Mobley. Like, if there's a Jared Allen sighting, if there's no Jared Allen, then I'm going to have to pivot to Evan Mobley. But if Jared Allen is going to be playing some minutes and he's going to be in the game, then we'll see.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I looked at the number for Evan Mobley was still at 15 and a half in 3 straight games. Like you mentioned there, Terrell, that he's gone over this number of 15 and a half, 17, 21, and 17. And he's going to be in double digit shot volume or shot attempts, I should say. I don't, again, like I mentioned, I don't expect Jared Allen to play here. If he does, again, keep an eye on it. But I don't know how effective Jared Allen would be, especially on the offensive side. Probably more there for rebounds. But I think that offensively, Evan Mobley can definitely provide that second or third scoring option next to Donovan Mitchell in this game here. So definitely looking at that at 15 and a half as well. Boston side, I think we've talked about this a lot. Jason Tatum rebounds. He's been in double-digit rebounds and I had the number in front of me against the Cavs head-to-head, but I think it was like 6 or 7 straight prior to game 2 where he didn't get there. But in the last game, in game 3, 33 points, more importantly, 13 rebounds in that game. So he's done pretty well, especially without Porzingis out there rebounding the basketball. And Horford, he plays X amount of minutes, but again, we know that Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are going to be playing the bulk of the minutes for the Boston Celtics. So if you want to take a look at his rebounds again, it's at 10.5 at plus 130 over on DraftKings, but I'm sure there's a 9.5 out there that may be a little bit juiced, but I don't hate that for Jason Tatum. What else are you looking at?
Do you see a price on Jason Tatum threes, or what the line is?
Yeah, give me a second here. Jason Tatum threes is at 2.5 at minus 115.
So this is his threes for the entire playoffs: 1 for 8, 2 for 6, 2 for 7, 2 for 6, 2 for 4, 0 for 5, 2 for 5, 2 for 8.
So you're saying there's a chance for the under.
Hey man, I'm just reading off the facts. I'm not saying anything. I'm just reading off the facts. And if our listeners want to, come up to their own inferences of those facts, then they can do that. But Jason Tatum over 2.5, and in the playoffs, 1 for 8, 2 for 6, 2 for 7, 2 for 6, 2 for 4, 0 for 5, 2 for 4, 2 for 8. I'm not saying anything. Just spitting the facts.
I think if you're looking for a player that I do expect to bounce back for the Boston Celtics scoring wise, who's been having a rough time shooting the basketball, it's probably been Derek White. He was phenomenal in game getting back to the Miami series. He was absolutely fantastic. Had a great game 1 against Cleveland, 25 points, but he has struggled from the field overall in the last 2 games, just 4 of 16 combined from 3 over the last 2 games, 10 points and 12 points. But I do expect him because he's getting a lot of the open looks. A lot of his shot volume is coming from beyond the arc. So if you want to look at his points prop overall, if you want to ladder up his threes, I think it's an opportunity for him tonight to knock down those 3-point shots. He's at 15.5 right now for his points prop. But I do think it could be a bounce back game, at least for Derek White. You got anything else for this game?
Considering a under on Jrue Holiday. If you think this is the big Derek White game, I just assume that's going to take away shots from Jrue Holiday. We know Jrue Holiday can have like 5-7 shots a game, those type of games. So yeah, I think I'll go for, if we go with the higher or the more or the over on Derek White, then I'm with the lower, the less, and the under on Jrue Holiday.
Yeah, this was something Scott was mentioning, that if he's going to be matched up on Donovan Mitchell, that his focus will really be on the defensive side.
Defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and then that opens up the opportunities where for Derek White, he gets the shots and maybe, not Jrue Holiday being as focused on the offensive side or maybe just being the facilitator at that point. He did have 18 points in game 3, but other than that, it's been 4, 14, 10, 11. So, yeah, I couldn't talk you off of that. I agree with that 100%. Lonte mentioning Dean Wade threes. I don't see a prop up for him yet. I know he did make his return on Saturday. Only played 17 minutes, but I do expect his minutes to go up a little bit as well. He took 6 shot attempts. 4 of the 6 attempts did come from beyond the arc, so that's another guy they could definitely use to knock down some 3-point shots here. So that number,
I might not take the threes, but I think I'd take his points. I mean,
yeah.
hit, and he could hit the threes, and that's how we could catch the points. But I think he could also be a force from inside, especially going up against the backcourt, not the backcourt, but the bench of Boston. I think he could be good.
Yeah. You got anything else for this game?
No, that's it. Let's move.
All right. Before we get over to the second game of the night, let me tell everyone about, our friends over at GameTime. Hey, we're in that part of the year where MLB is in full swing, and it's sometimes a little difficult to find tickets to some of these events. You're maybe looking to do something on the weekend, don't have many plans, but you're getting frustrated to find those tickets. But hey, that's why GameTime comes in, because they take all the frustration out of having to track down those tickets and makes a stress-free experience over on GameTime. And guess what? GameTime is now an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down closer to the first pitch. With killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seats, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. And the best thing I love about their app is that, like I mentioned, they always have last minute tickets available. They have flash deals, they have zone deals, and it's easy to find and buy tickets for MLB and every kind of event in your area. And you also get a image of your seat view before you actually purchase those tickets, so you don't have any surprises when you get to that particular stadium or arena. Their lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection as well. And guess what? They have last minute deals, like I mentioned. Save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, and theater. And like I mentioned, they also have flash deals. You can save even more with exclusive in app deals on select seats ahead of the game or on the day of the event. I mentioned zone deals. What's that? Save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats for you. And also, I mentioned their seat view. You get a panoramic view of from your seat in the app before you actually buy the tickets, because you don't want to get to the arena or stadium or that venue and you have some type of obstruction in your way when you buy those tickets. The lowest price is guaranteed. And if you find tickets at a different venue or a different outlet, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's how confident they are in their prices. So all I gotta do is take the guesswork out of buying tickets when you go with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account and use promo code SGPN for a $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Terrell, let's get over to the second game of the night. We've got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They are in Dallas to take on the Mavericks. Mavericks currently holding that 2-1 lead, but now game 4, OKC looking to even it up at 2-2. Currently, as it stands, the Mavericks are a 1.5 point favorite in this game with a total of 215. Looking at the injury report, Luka is on there as usual with a right knee sprain and left ankle soreness. And Maxi Kleber, we know, is out for the Dallas Mavericks and the OKC Thunder. Healthy squad, no injuries to really talk about there, but they are a full go. OKC looking to even the series up before they head back home for game 5 here, Terrell. Do you think they can do it, or does Dallas take a commanding 3-1 lead?
I'm going with OKC here. And the reasoning is I think that PJ Washington has to come back down to earth. This man, I'll say for a player that has played for a terrible franchise his entire career, he has came into the playoffs and been on complete bullshit. Complete and utter bullshit is PJ Washington. This is absolutely insane what he's doing the past 2 games. And at this point, can you put a body on him? I'll be sitting there in the huddle. So as soon as we get there, who got Washington? Please let me know. Who got Washington? Because every time I look up at the screen, I don't know if it's anybody else, but anytime I look up at the screen, he's hitting a wide open 3. Every single time. I mean, motherfucker, his 3-point prop is 1.5. It'd be 1.5. How do you end up with 7 and 5 threes in the past 2 games and your props 1.5? It's because they just let you wide open and he's hitting them. He's shutting everybody up and he's hitting the wide open shots that we were begging for him to hit in the Pelicans series. He's hitting them in this series, and that was the question. Who's going to be the other person? It's going to be Kyrie. It's going to be Luka. Who's going to be that other person? And Tim Hardaway Jr. in the beginning of the year, you probably would have said him. He's hurt. He doesn't look like himself as he plays. PJ Washington has stepped up in this series, and he's really, really been the catalyst. Like they've gotten better on the offensive glass and rebounding with PJ Washington. They gotten better shooting out of PJ Washington. He's got to have a good game. I truly think he's the X factor. If he has a good game, Dallas is going to win. So Thunder, hey, get a body on Washington, man. Just get a body on Washington. I think they're going to be good because they've done the right things. It's just the Dallas has been just a little bit better in these past 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it, right? PJ Washington has pretty much been the difference thus far in the last 2 games at least for the Dallas Mavericks. Game 2 in OKC, 11 of 18 from the floor, 7 of 11 from three-point line, 29 points. Game 3 at home, 11 of 23 from the floor, 5 of 12 from beyond the arc. I believe I want to say he had the second most attempts on the team for the Dallas Mavericks in that game. Excuse me, he had the most attempts. Did PJ Washington, Luca, and Kyrie both had 17 attempts in game 3. PJ Washington, rightfully so, right? Because like Terrell, you mentioned there that he's getting the open looks as well. And he's been able to knock them down. Still kind of waiting for that masterclass performance from Luca. I'm not sure if it is coming because it just feels like that knee is really bothering him.
Lou Dort, man.
Yeah.
Lou Dort. It's all coming. It's tough buckets. Like he's getting
Yeah.
tough buckets, but it's just not. He's not getting the easy stuff that really jacks up his points totals and his gameplay. Everything is hard. Everything is hard. Pause.
Kyrie, 41 minutes, 22 points. He was efficient from the floor, so I expect the Kyrie game here sooner rather than later. But yeah, I think OKC here, if you want to look at them early, I think that's an opportunity. But I do expect the OKC Thunder to bounce back here tonight as well, led by SGA. I mean, this line was, I want to say it was 2.5 in game 3, and now it's 1.5 in favor of the Dallas Mavericks. So, I mean, coming off of a win, you would probably think this number would have moved in favor of Dallas by half a point or maybe even a point. But no, it went the other way with OKC here. So, again, I'm a huge believer in their head coach as well, in Mark Dagnall. I think he does a great job of making those adjustments, and I think they bring that here in game 4 as well. And you take a look, it was really that third quarter that was the difference for the Dallas Mavericks, where they won the quarter by 5. They were able to hang on in the fourth quarter, was 23 apiece in that quarter. For the fourth quarter, at least the point differential was even. But I do think that I expect the SGA and those guys have bounced back here tonight. So OKC plus 1.5 money line for me here as well. Thoughts on the total, Terrell? 215 right now.
Yeah. I think I'm going for an over.
Okay.
Or at least an OKC team total over. It feels like this is a okay. Because this is still a good OKC team. Like I think this is still a good OKC team that can exploit some things defensively from the Mavericks. I think SGA can have a really good game. Looking for J-Dub to step up, looking for Chet to hold his own. And then they're so deep on the bench and just being able, whether it's Wallace, whether it's Joe, whether it's even Wiggins, like they have so many options that are help adding to the scoring for them that I just think that this is gonna go over. They're gonna be a lot quicker out there, and I'm expecting to see them push their team total over. So I'll take an OKC team total over.
Yeah, you take a look in game 3, they were 10 of 30 from three-point land, did shoot 46% from the floor, but I would expect some of these guys that are getting these open looks from three-point land to knock them down. Between Chet, Lou Dort, who was 2 of 7 from 3, some of these guys coming off of the bench. Aaron Wiggins, you mentioned, he had a great, I believe it was game 2, but game 3, 3 of 7 from the floor, 0 of 3 from three-point land. Let's see here. Isaiah Joe, I think, is another guy that we want to look out for. He's going to get at least anywhere from 17 to 20 minutes.
I think he's been over his 5.5 every game.
Yeah. Let's see here. So
I wonder if they moved him up yet.
6, 7, and 13. Which, yeah, let's just lead it into the player props here. Let's see what his number's at. Isaiah
It's at
Joe.
6.5 now. So they moved it up a point. I've been excuse me. I've been playing it at 5.5, and he continues to hit 6.5. What's his threes at?
1.5 at minus 108.
I'd take the one. I think I'd take the 1.5 threes if his points is at 6.5.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Yeah, that makes sense because you take a look, the first 3 games in this series, 4 shot attempts from the floor, 3 came from the three-point line. 5 shot attempts in game 2, 3 came from the three-point line. 7 in game 3, 4 of those came from the three-point line. So, yeah, again, the most majority of his shot volume we know is going to come from beyond the arc. So I think that that 1.5 is 1.5 is a great call there. What else you looking at as far as player props?
I'm not switching off of anything I've been playing, and so I'm going to continue to play it. I'm going to continue to play Gafford double-double at plus money. I feel like
Okay.
we're almost there, man. After that first game, I feel like we've been close the past 2 games, and it's just been he's been leaving the game, man. Like just continuously leaving the game. Left the game for a hand injury, left the game for a shoulder injury. Like, stay in the game. Stay in the game. Don't get hurt. Because he keeps coming back. He keeps
Yeah.
leaving the game and then coming back. So just stay in the game. If you're not hurt, just stay in. Because we're gonna cash this double eventually again. And it's gonna be a pretty I think we're getting closer to 4-1 odds now. Let's see.
Yeah, he got in game 1, 16-11, but like you mean, like 13 points in game 2, 7 rebounds, and then he only played 20 minutes in game
Yes, plus
3.
550 now. Yes, I'm back in at plus 550. I was almost off, but I'm back in at plus 550.
All
There's no
right.
reason it should be plus 550. He's gonna, and that's how they control the game, control the rebound battle, control the boards. PJ Washington is the new shiny toy that everybody's looking at, but Daniel Gafford's still there. Daniel Gafford and Luka still have a really good rapport. I think he's gonna do enough to get the points, and I just need to get some luck on the rebounds and him just be a force down low, battling with Chet and coming up with some of those 50-50 balls. So Gafford, double plus 550.
Couldn't talk you off of that. I mean, that's great value there, especially over at plus 550. SGA rebounds and assists has been something that's been really good to me as well, especially in this series.
Mm-hmm.
The number has now been adjusted to 13.5, a little bit juice towards the over as well. But I still don't think it's high enough at 13.5. In the first 3 games of this series, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, 10 rebounds, 6 assists for SGA. And I think one of these games, maybe it could be tonight, but I do think that he's going to be getting a triple double here sooner rather than later. Blocks for him is also intriguing. He's at least 2 blocks in 4 straight games. So I mean, we know SGA plays defense as well. Let me take a look
Mm-hmm.
at what that number is for SGA. It's at 1.5 at plus 140. So 4 straight games where he's at least 2 blocks. In game 3, he had 5 blocks for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So if you want to get on that at over 1.5 blocks for SGA, it's at plus 140 currently over on DraftKings right now. So that's a worth look for me. I mean, I know the points are going to be there, but I kind of wanted to pivot away from that. Rebounds, assists, I would definitely be on, and I'll sprinkle a little bit on that plus 140 for his blocks. Anything else you're looking at?
No, you talked about it. SGA, big on. I'm on the points play too. I think the points play is there as well.
Do you see what his triple double is?
Oh, that's probably juicy.
Let me see.
What is that even pay?
I see
15-1.
21.
Oh, 21. I still think it would be a little bit higher. I wouldn't play it at that.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, I'm on SGA, Gafford. Think they're gonna have pretty good games, and we talked about it before the series. That was gonna be the key for Dallas. It was gonna be Gafford, PJ Washington, like somebody else other than Luka and Kyrie. Somebody else is contributing. So now for OKC, I do need somebody else. I need J Dub to pull up. I need the bench to. It's not like I need one person to have 10 points on the bench, but if they get solid, good contributions, especially from 3 from their bench, then they're gonna be in good shape.
Yeah, Jalen Williams over the last 3 games, 18 points, 20 points, and 16 points. Let me see what his points prop is at for tonight.
It's at 20.5 plus 120. I see.
Yeah, I see also 19.5 on DraftKings at minus 112 if you want to get if you think he does have a 20-point game here tonight. So yeah, a couple of different looks there. The market did adjust Terrell on PJ Washington threes. That's now at 2.5 at plus 102. Very tempted to take the
time to get in. This is the time to get in on the under, man.
Yeah.
This is the time to get in on the under. As soon as they move the market, that's when it's time to get in on the under.
Yep.
Under PJ Washington 2.5.
All right. That's all I have. You have anything else for this game?
Nope. I'm good.
All right. So those are the 2 games here for tonight. Let's do our lock and dog, and then we can put our Underdog Fantasy entry together for tonight here as well. You want to lead us off?
Yeah. Let's go with my lock. And that is going to be Evan Mobley. I'm going props today. Prop heavy today. Evan Mobley. Over, higher, more, however you want to put it. 15.5 points at minus 106. He's gone over this line in 3 straight games. You start your centers against the Celtics. This is There's nothing to question about this. They need an additional scoring option. Darius Garland has been booty for majority of the playoffs, and now this is the opportunity for Evan Mobley, one, to showcase himself in a plus matchup for him, and to alleviate and make some type of other effort other than Jonathan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell's going to go get his, but Evan Mobley's got to be there and be able to help alleviate some of that scoring if they're even going to have a chance. So Evan Mobley over 15.5 points. That's my lock. For my dog, going back to Gafford. He ain't had it in a while. Couple of games. This is a big game at home. You can go up 3-1. Need to control the boards. Need to control the boards in this game if you're gonna have a chance. Gafford plus 550 on the double.
All right. All right. For my lock, I think I am gonna, or not think, I am gonna go with the under in the Celtics and the Cavs game. We saw the Cavs; they were able to knock down their shots in game 2, but I think that if they want an opportunity to win this game or even cover, I think it's going to have to be in ugly form or fashion. Whether it's like those low scoring 90s type of final scores, right? Like first team to like 100, I think could probably win this game. And we saw, right, even with in game 3, 106-93, 118-94 in game 2. That did get over the total as well. But Boston has been actually really good on the defensive side. I think that the Cavs also do show up defensively in this game. I'm not a believer right now in the Celtics 3-point shooting for it to be consistent enough. But I do think that, again, this could probably be a game where it lands in the high 190s, low 200s. So I'm going to go with the under in the Celtics and the Cavs game. For my dog, and I'm sure this number has moved, but I don't think it's been fully adjusted. You went with the Daniel Gafford double-double, but I'm going to go with a little puppy double-double compared to the number that you gave out.
I'm about to boo you.
SGA, he's still around plus 180, plus 200 to
Oh,
record
okay.
a
All right.
double-double.
Cool.
Yeah. He's done it in 3 out of the last 4 games in the playoffs. He's done it in 2 straight against Dallas, 33 and 12 rebounds, 31 and 10 rebounds. And he had a near triple-double in game 1 against the Mavericks, 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. And then in the series clinching game against the Pelicans, 24 points and 10 rebounds. So at least a double-double in 3 of the last 4 playoff games. Could have had another one if he had one more rebound or assist in game 1 against Dallas. But at plus 180 right now for SGA to record that double-double, I think that he can definitely get there to the window again. So I'll give that out as my dog here for tonight. Which leads us to our Underdog Fantasy entry here for tonight, Terrell. Again, make sure you guys use that promo code NBASGPN. Get you a first deposit special pick and also a bonus cash offer of up to $250 if you haven't already signed up with an account at underdogfantasy.com. But again, make sure you guys use that promo code NBASGPN. All right, Terrell, where do we want to start here for tonight for our entry? We want to go Evan Mobley.
Yeah, let's what do they have for Mobley here? Do they have Mobley double-double?
Mobley double-double.
No.
It's
No,
0.85 on the higher.
Yeah, I don't really like the 0.85s, man.
His points are at 15.5.
Yeah, we can play the points still. Or we can differentiate from our lock. It doesn't matter.
No, I like his points here tonight. I agree with you. Again, he's done it in 3 straight games. And again, if they want to have a chance in this game, I think they're going to need it from Evan Mobley. And I don't really expect Jared Allen to play, honestly. So, yeah, let's go Evan Mobley. Higher 15.5 points.
I like you guys' Derek White angle.
Oh, yeah, you want to go on his points or his 3-pointers?
I can play Derek White. That's fine.
All right, let's see. Derek White. Where is he? Points are at 15.5. Threes are at 3. You want to just go points?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So we'll throw Derek White in there. We'll go higher on Derek White. And then let's get something from the Dallas in the OKC game. Where is Mr. Daniel Gafford? See, we're getting chipped on this double-double. They have it at 3.25, or you could get it at.
Nah, it's not worth it.
You want to do his rebounds? It's at 7, or his points are at 9.5. Or points and rebounds 16.5.
I got points and rebounds. That's cool.
All right, we'll go higher on that. All right. So our entry here for tonight for the Monday NBA playoff games, we will go Evan Mobley, higher 15.5 points. Derek White, higher 15.5 points. And then we'll go Daniel Gafford, points and rebounds, higher 16.5. That $10 entry will get you a return of $60. Again, underdogfantasy.com. Make sure you guys use our promo code NBA SGPN. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast for the Monday games in the NBA playoffs. Terrell, anything else you want to mention before we go our separate ways?
Yes, the WNBA is back, and come rock with us. We'll be back here 8 p.m. tonight covering the games for tomorrow. We got player props. We got everything we need. It's going to be just like this show, but WNBA. So guess what? Why would you not listen and not get more winners? You get winners here, get winners there. Me and Scott, you know what to do. Come tap into the WNBA Gambling Podcast.
Yes. You guys support us here on the NBA Gambling Podcast. Make sure you guys support the ladies and Terrell and Scott over at the WNBA Gambling Podcast. They'll be going live here on this channel as well. So if you haven't already subscribed, now is a great time to do that because the season for the WNBA does tip off this week. So make sure you guys tap in with Terrell and Scott all season long, giving out winners as they usually do for the WNBA Gambling Podcast. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time and same place for the Tuesday schedule. Recap what we saw on Monday night as well with myself and Scott. Make sure you guys follow Terrell on Instagram and Twitter. That's at reallyreal__. You can follow me there as well at SportsNerd824. Make sure if you haven't already subscribed to the NBA Gambling Podcast YouTube channel, just do us a favor, hit that subscribe button for us. I really do appreciate it. All right, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Till then, I am doing a propcast here solo. If you guys want to hang tight, maybe in about 10